Calaroga Shark Media.
On today's show, Conan O'Brien's going to win the Mark Twain Prize. Jamie Foxx took a shot at somebody. Was it Cat Williams? Bill Burr's got a big profile in Variety. And Roy Wood Jr. specials out on Hulu today. Not that their publicist wants me to know about it. Hello, I'm Johnny Mac with today's Daily Comedy News. Conan O'Brien will be the next recipient of the Mark Twain Prize for American Humor. He'll be honored at the annual gala March 23rd at the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts in Washington, D.C. Netflix will stream the event sometime later in the year. So expect a lot of Conan press coming up because he's also hosting the Oscars on March 2nd. Conan becomes the 26th person to receive the award. Others include Carl Reiner, Whoopi Goldberg, Tina Fey, Eddie Murphy, Jay Leno, David Letterman, and I believe Bill Cosby. Oops. It is fact-checked that the Kennedy Center rescinded the honor in 2018. Someday, I've got some Bill Cosby stories to tell, and I will tell them, but not today. Perhaps after his death, I will share them. I digress. Conan said, I'm honored to be the first winner of the Mark Twain Prize, recognized not for humor, but for my work as a riverboat pilot. Deborah Rutter is the president of the Kennedy Center and said, from Saturday Night Live and The Simpsons, where he was a writer, including the unbelievably funny monorail episode. That's a trigger for me. I'm going to be singing Monorail all day now. Conan is a master of invention and reinvention, consistently pushing the envelope in search of new comedic heights. I look forward to honoring his immense legacy and enduring impact with an uproarious evening in the concert hall on March 23rd. The Hollywood Reporter has a nice bio of Conan. He began his career on HBO's Not Necessarily the News. Remember that show, fellow oldies? I used to watch that. He was a writer on SNL and The Simpsons, took over for Letterman in '93. Hosted The Tonight Show for 7 minutes in 2009. Kind of hit out on TBS, no offense. For 11 years on TBS, no offense, but kind of hit out. I think if we ranked everything Conan did, the TBS years probably had the least impact. And then he started a podcast, which has done okay. That one called Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. Dave Chappelle hosts Saturday Night Live this week. They put out an interesting promo. Dave Chappelle appears in it but never speaks. Towards the end of the promo, we see Chappelle on a stool. But I will play the audio for you with this Morgan Freeman-esque, or perhaps actually Morgan Freeman voiceover. Who knows, but let's listen.
Studio 8H, New York City's hallowed comedy ground. A 50-year tradition of laughter at Saturday Night Live. All the greats passed through these halls. Also, Steven Seagal. And this Saturday, Dave's back.
So some background there on the Steven Seagal shot. Former SNL writer Al Franken in 2022 called Seagal an effing moron whose big sketch idea involved him, I don't even want to voice this, doing something very, very sexually violent to cast member Victoria Jackson, again in a sketch. Franken recalled asking him, so you want us to do the ugliest sketch that's ever been on television? Lorne Michaels once called Seagal the biggest jerk who's ever been on the show. Wow. Jamie Foxx is out with Cameron Diaz. They're promoting Back in Action. They were on Complex's Goat Talk. Jamie was asked what is his goat curse word, and I'm really going to have to let you use your imagination here. Jamie said, B-word made an N-word, okay? I don't even want to tell you what it rhymes with. You'll figure it out. You're smart. Now, here he took a shot at someone. Folks on the interwebs suspect he's talking about Cat Williams. Fox said, be made for me is actually scientific because when I see the guy that I'm talking about, he's usually small. He's 128 pounds. Cameron Diaz was curious, asking, how many men do you know who are 128 pounds? Jamie said, a lot of comedians. I'll leave it at that. A lot of little MF comedians. B made an N. F out of here, man. A tiny MFer. So the theory is he could mean Kevin Hart, but I don't recall Kevin and Jamie talking about each other ever, or Cat Williams, who definitely has talked about Jamie. Steve Harvey, who is not 128 pounds, has also previously referred to Cat Williams as a hater. We'll keep an eye on this little beef. Johnny Mac likes comedy beefs. It's good for the show. Bill Burr did a lengthy interview with Variety. I'm seeing a lot of pushback to Burr's appearance on Kimmel the other night. People suggesting that Burr is tone deaf or sucking up to Gavin Newsom or something. I don't know. But going up a level, I'm seeing more and more chatter from longtime Bill Burr fans who feel like Bill has, I don't know what to describe it, gone soft, gone to Hollywood, lost his way. The vibe being they prefer the old Bill Burr, not the current incarnation who seems to be, I don't know, more restrained. I'm not sure I'm feeling that, but I definitely have caught that vibe on several podcasts that I listen to. I'll pick at this article for the next few days. Now, tomorrow on this program, Larry the Cable Guy is my guest, so I'll do a little of this today, a little Sunday, and it might even carry into Monday. It's pretty long. You'll find it in Variety, and I've shared it in the Facebook group, Daily Comedy News Podcast Group. Please feel encouraged to join us there and join in on the conversation. Burr told Variety, I'm feeling pretty lucky. Bill had evacuated his house due to the LA fires, as covered on Kimmel. Kills me is just a lot of bots. I think it's treasonous behavior to politicize everything, keep working people at each other's throats. It's only good for one group of people. It's not working people. This is not meant to be any sort of Bill Burr impression. I'm just separating it from my normal reading voice. I go back to New York, and my comic friends tell me how soft LA is. I'm like, all you New Yorkers come out here and you leave with your tail between your legs because you can't hack it. It's funny, and LA is considered the soft place, but then when they see our weather, they start quoting Revelations. I'm a New Yorker who has spent time in LA. I've never lived in LA, but I have no idea what Burr is talking about there, about New Yorkers going out there and then not being able to hack Los Angeles. No idea whatsoever. But again, I'm not a comedian, and I've never lived in Los Angeles. Burr is out promoting his hilarious special, Drop Dead Years. It'll be out March 14th. Now, if you want to make a case for Burr Has Gone Establishment, the Hulu stand-up comedy series is pretty mainstream. Jim Gaffigan, Sebastian, I think, is part of that lineup, and Roy Wood Jr., who's got one out today. Roy's is called Lonely Flowers. In Lonely Flowers, Roy Wood Jr. riffs on how isolation has sent society spiraling into a culture of guns, protests, rude employees, self-checkout lanes, and sex parties. Roy told NPR, when I did BET's Comic View in 2004, I'd gotten turned down 3 years in a row, and I got so angry with them, I watched every episode, and I cataloged every topic that was breached by comedians for the previous year's entire season. How many jokes about being ugly? Here's sex jokes, here's race jokes, president, famous people, and cataloged it all, and just told myself that entire year I won't make a joke about any of those things. So now, at a minimum, I'm original. I like that approach. That's pretty good. Roy talked about leaving The Daily Show. It goes back to the Doug Herzog quote that I posted the day that I left, where I said, you don't own these jobs, you rent them, and sooner or later your number's up. So it doesn't matter if I stayed at the Daily Show. Sooner or later an exit's inevitable. It's which uncertainty will you choose? Stay at this job, not sure who's going to get hired as host, or the uncertainty of not having a job and trying to create another job and maybe to be a better job. Choose. He told a story about his dad being a founding investor in Soul Train. Roy said, my dad was the first black announcer at pretty much most stations he worked at in the 50s and 60s, doing news for the most part. And so he got with some people up in Chicago and decided to create the National Black Network. And the National Black Network was a series of syndicated news stories and articles and programs that would be sent out to black radio stations across the country. My dad gets pulled over by a cop. And the cop has a really deep voice. He's in the middle of getting a ticket. My dad goes, yeah, man, you have a nice voice. You should be on the radio. You should be out here doing this. And my dad gave the cop his card. That cop, Don Cornelius, Officer Don Cornelius of the Chicago PD. He'd only been a cop for a year. He quit. He started working at a radio station as a reporter, got an itch for the media, and came up with an idea for a show, Soul Train. He goes up to my father and goes, hey, man, I'm taking up money if you want to be an investor in this show. Roy says, my pops gave Don Cornelius some of the money to shoot the pilot for Soul Train. My dad gave maybe let's say it's $1,000, which is a good $1 billion in 1986. And once the show started, my dad goes, hey, Don, I need that money, man. And Don goes, instead of giving you your money back, why don't I keep you on as a producer? You can be an executive producer for the rest of your life. To which my dad said, nobody wants to watch black people dance. Give me my money. Don paid him back. My father took the money, signed away his rights to any claims of the Soul Train empire, and that was that. Wow. A lot more here from Roy Wood, but I'll push that into the weekend as well because that's an awesome story and always go out on top. All right, Johnny Mac feels bad. I'm on here and I'm like, hey, guys, buy me a coffee. Come on, buy me a coffee. Will you buy me a coffee? And then poor Yvonne goes and buys me not one, but 2 coffees. And do I thank her on the show? No. You think I thank her on the show? I didn't. I'm sorry, Yvonne. I appreciate you. Thank you for buying me 2 coffees by going to buymeacoffee.com/dailycomedynews. Now, to be fair, when you do buy me a coffee, I got a note in my inbox, and Yvonne shot me a note. She's like, hey, did you get the coffees? What's going on? Like friendly, not like accusing me of being a jerk or anything. She just wanted to make sure that, some scammer. She doesn't want like Nigerian scammers getting the coffee she intended for me. So I looked, and this had happened while I was in Antarctica. So I missed the email. So Yvonne, thank you. And I apologize. But anyway, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/dailycomedynews. Look at this. I almost have like 40% of this one left today. I will take your money. I will drive to the National Donuts chain where I've already pre-ordered because I'm not going to talk to anybody. It's 2025. I've got apps and reward points and stuff. And I have already clicked large iced coffee, caramel, milk. I go in and I get it and I get back in and then I pet my dog. My dog's been coming for a ride. And I don't want letters from people being like, you leave your dog in the car. It's 20 seconds, dude. Relax. Dog likes coming in the morning. Bill Hader spoke to KTLA about the LA fires. Oh, I better reset here and get because I just laughed a little, but this story's not funny at all. Bill Hader's home was destroyed in the fires. He told KTLA, people keep saying unreal. It doesn't seem real. I'm sorry. I'm in shock. Just gone. Everything. Alphabet Streets, which is to me kind of the heart of the Palisades. This beautiful, beautiful area is gone. The whole thing is gone. I got a video showing the fire and rushed back, but by the time I got back, it was gridlock traffic. I'm glad I got my family out during the city evacuation. Men's Health was concerned about Jay Leno's car collection. Jay's been out and about volunteering. Men's Health happily reports Jay's car collection appears to be safe. Most of his vehicles are stored in an empty aircraft hangar at Hollywood Burbank Airport. Interesting. How much does that cost to rent? And I didn't know this. Jay's got another estate in Newport, Rhode Island that he bought in 2017 for $13.5 million. Jay hanging out in Rhode Island? Interesting. And Fox News apparently doesn't get the Tim Dillon podcast. They reported on what Tim Dillon said about the fires on Monday's episode. I listened to that episode. It was very funny. If you listen to Tim Dillon, he's not serious about anything. He's just riffing jokes, but Fox posted this as if it was news. Ridiculous. David Spade has offered $5,000 to anyone who successfully catches and reports arsonists in LA. Spade, I appreciate it, but $5,000 in David Spade money is like buying me a coffee. Could we up that prize a little, dude? I mean, Daily Comedy News can almost afford a $5,000 prize. But anyway, his heart's in the right place. He says, I'm out in California, and people are saying there's guys lighting fires out there, making this stuff worse. So if you can find someone lighting a fire, and you catch somebody, and you get the cops to bust them and throw them in jail, I'll give you $5,000. So keep your eyes peeled. Do what you can do out there. As I went to record the show today, I see Bob Uecker has passed away age 90. Let me see if I can do a quick bio on the fly. On Thursday morning, the Milwaukee Brewers announced that Bob had passed away, age 90, calling it one of the most difficult days in Milwaukee Brewers history. Uecker's family said he had battled small cell lung cancer since early 2023. Born and raised in Milwaukee, Bob Uecker was a beloved member of the baseball community. On the comedy side, Uecker got his big break opening for Don Rickles in an Atlanta nightclub in 1969. That got him on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. He did the Carson Tonight Show more than 100 times. Carson dubbed Bob Uecker Mr. Baseball. People my age definitely remember Bob Uecker from the Miller Lite commercials. Those were fantastic. Bob starred in the ABC sitcom Mr. Belvedere. That ran 6 years and 122 episodes. He played the head of the family and a sports writer in a home that brings in a butler. The butler struggles to adapt to an American household. Bob also played an announcer in the movies Major League and Major League 2. He played Harry Doyle, and you may remember the famous quote, just a bit outside. Bob Uecker was 90, and that is your comedy news for today. Larry the Cable Guy tomorrow. See you then.